If you look closely at Kolkata's underworld, you'll see an unsettling level of organization. We tend to think of organized crime as a collection of rival street gangs, but in Bengal, the violence is tightly regulated by a shadow government, a meticulously built architecture of political control. The response to this threat began over 900 miles away, deep inside the South Block of New Delhi. Intelligence officials recognized that the syndicate had become too powerful for local police to handle, so they authorized a classified shadow directive to dismantle it from within. The stakes are tied to the 2026 state elections. This massive crowd at a political rally represents more than just voters. They are the subjects of a syndicate that dictates election results, commands local administration, and controls every government contract. To break an organization this entrenched, official methods are useless. The Prime Minister's office took a seasoned officer named Arjun Sen and wiped his existence from the record. His service files vanished, replaced by the profile of Arnav Dutt, a small-time contractor looking for syndicate work. The operation followed a cold logic. Defeating a systemic rot requires abandoning the law. You cannot dismantle the foundation from the outside. You have to become part of it. Arjun's entry point was Line 3. This is the syndicate's construction and logistics supply chain. Every truck of sand, every bag of cement, and every ship docked at the port moves through this specific layer of control. He didn't infiltrate by making friends. He used calculated, efficient violence during a staged turf dispute. By neutralizing targets without using lethal force, he proved to the syndicate's management that he was a disciplined asset worth hiring. Once inside, Arjun observed the syndicate's true weapon, psychological control. Orders arrive as invisible directives from the man on the other side. No one knows who is speaking, but everyone knows the cost of disobedience. This is the nature of street-level power in Bengal. Formal legal structures are irrelevant because the city runs on the flawless execution of the syndicate's unwritten rules. Arjun's rapid promotion to top access was a tactical warning sign. In a paranoid criminal hierarchy, this level of trust is usually a positioning move rather than a reward. The boss handed Arjun an impossible task: find the organization's internal leak within 72 hours. It was a classic trap. If Arjun failed to produce a traitor, he would be identified as one himself. Navigating these rain-sucked streets, Arjun realizes his counter-surveillance is failing. The syndicate's watchers are everywhere, closing in as the clock runs down. He is no longer the hunter, he is the target. Then, the lifeline snaps. His encrypted PMO communication channels suddenly go dead. He is cut off from his handlers in New Delhi, left alone in the middle of a hostile city. The final confirmation of his failure comes from the syndicate's gatekeeper, Mahima. She doesn't use his alias. She addresses him by his real name, Arjun Sen, effectively marking him for death. Arjun is facing a double-blind betrayal. The syndicate possesses classified intelligence sourced directly from his own command structure. They aren't just watching him, they are reading his playbook. Mahima reveals a deeper truth. The syndicate is not just a crime family. It functions as an interface, a clearinghouse where corporate interests, foreign capital, and political factions exchange power in secret. The breach in Arjun's security didn't come from the streets. It came from a high-level traitor inside the PMO who sold Arjun's identity to protect the interface. This strategy is Blue Horizon. Local gangs and state politicians are merely the visible layers. The real control sits at the apex node. This node secretly funnels capital downward, bypassing the middle tier of politicians, injecting funds directly into street-level gangs to manufacture regional instability. Arjun's mission was doomed from the start. He was caught in a cooperative control game played between state and central powers, where stability was never the goal, only leverage. The syndicate's digital heart hides in plain sight inside this mundane, multi-story government administrative building. It is the perfect hiding spot, an office of bureaucracy masking an engine of shadow operations. To enter, Arjun has to bypass physical guards by manipulating the digital ghost layer. Mahima alters the system's permissions in real time, giving Arjun an authorized identity just long enough to reach the central terminal. When Arjun finally breaches the terminal, he finds the architect's signature. The system isn't run by a criminal boss. It's controlled by Arjun's own PMO operation head. The political endgame is to manufacture enough chaos before the 2026 election that the state becomes ungovernable. This allows the central government to step in as the necessary savior, seizing total control under the guise of restoring order. At this level of government, law enforcement is an illusion. It is a tool used to mask a brutal proxy war for absolute power over the state's resources. Arjun is trapped. He cannot use official channels to arrest the architects who control those very channels. Any evidence he sends through the PMO will be deleted before it reaches a judge. Instead, he goes rogue. He executes a massive data dump of every encrypted funding trail, every mole identity, and every recorded order, sending it directly to every major news outlet in the country. The leaked data floods news networks, stripping the shadow architecture of its secrecy. In an instant, the people who are manufacturing chaos are forced onto the defensive, their internal communications exposed to the public. While the political system collapses in the media, the city itself remains quiet. Against the sunset at Howard Bridge, the fall of the syndicate feels disconnected from the lives of the people below. Systems of absolute power cannot be reformed from within. They can only be burned in the light of public exposure, leaving us to wonder how many other shadow networks are operating just out of sight.